Tēnā tātou katoa. Community governance. Nau mai, hara mai, whakatau mai. Welcome to this session of community governance. I'm about to open our session with a karakia. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Tēnei te ara kei runga. Tēnei te ara e rangi. Te ara o tēnei tipua. Te ara o tēnei areki. Te ara o rangirau o ko papa. Rarau te pane o tāne. Rarau te tangata ki raro ki a tīna. Tīna. Hui e tai ki e.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui I tēnei wā, nau mai, haere mai. Welcome, I'm Rose from Community Governance New Zealand. We are so pleased and excited to have you with us today for the launch of our new website. Our not-for-profit sector is made up of passionate volunteers who give up our evenings, our weekends, our lunch breaks to help the causes that we care about. But it's not always an easy task. Community governance is committed to supporting the not-for-profit sector to govern well, as good governance leads to successful community outcomes. And building success is better together. We'd like to get to know you and where you're from, and if you could please enter your name and your location and just the organisation, just a little bit of getting to know one another. You can see quite a few people coming through. Myself, I'm based in the Bay of Plenty and it's been raining all day today. We've had a huge response to our launch event today. We've had over 280 people register from around Aotearoa. We've had the community foundations, we've got government agencies, we've got sports and theatre groups, woodworking, marae, just to name a few. Our website is now live. We're super excited to share our resources with you, and today is about getting to know the team behind Community New Zealand and our kaupapa. But before I do that, I'd like to thank our partners. We have 12 community trusts across New Zealand. I'd like to thank you for your commitment to good governance and to the communities that you serve. I'd also like to thank our government agencies, DIA and MSD. In particular, I'd like to thank Foundation North, Nicola Brayhart, Aroha Harris CEO Peter Tynan from Foundation North, our Centre for Social Impact team, Karinia Lee, Aggie, Amy, Andrea, and a special thanks to Katie Brown from Social Good, Jack Petworth and Ed Lyons from Scratch, who are website designers, have just done an amazing, outstanding job. So now what we're going to do is we are going to enter the website address into our chat function. I'm going to invite you to, there it is, I'm going to invite you to copy that, enter it into your browser, open up and have a look at our new website. So just while everyone's getting on to our new site, this is the home of Community Governance New Zealand. Supporting community governance in Aotearoa. Te tautoko I ngā mana whakahaere hāpuru ki Aotearoa. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful homepage. Hope everyone's kind of getting on now. This image was taken by Kyle Mowborough. It's a beautiful, stunning picture. Our website was built from engagement from our not-for-profit sector. We held a co-design workshop with our not-for-profit community, and we're just about the challenges that we face in our sector, which is kind of too much information overload, can be overwhelming. And what we wanted for our site is clean information in one place. that you could access that was inspiring, engaging, and would help you educate. So I hope everyone's getting online and able to access the site, have a good look around. We have created our site with a range of information and in a variety of ways. We have our mentoring stories, we've got wonderful videos to share. We have our board pack, which Community Governance has designed just for you, and it comes with templates, tips, tricks, and advice. We've got our resource hub that you can search for information from documents, templates, articles, and we have our program work there to share as well. I hope we're getting some smiley faces and some big thumbs up, and hope everyone can get onto our site. Community governance, we are building the foundations of community governance, and this is a major start to our program work, and we can't be more pleased to share this with you. We hope everyone again is enjoying the site. This is for you. Please share out with your board members, with organisations, and I hope you're enjoying it. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to introduce Jo Cribb, and she's going to share a bit about the history, our National Action Plan and co-design workshops with you.
Kia ora, Rose, and thank you. I'd just like to take this moment to acknowledge what amazing resource this is, but it wouldn't have happened without your leadership. So behind every good initiative, there's somebody working really hard. So thank you, Rose. You are the heart and soul behind this work. I also want to acknowledge that many of you on the call today would have been perhaps right at the beginning of the national strategy for community governance, and that hopefully you're enjoying as much as I am to see the ideas that we co-created, we co-designed coming to life. There was thousands and thousands of volunteer hours that have created the strategy and created the foundation that now Rose is bringing to life. What Rose has asked me to do is to give you a bit of background about the national strategy. Obviously this website, this knowledge hub, was one of the actions, but there's many more that have been delivered and will be delivered over time. So if we go right back to the beginning, I think it was well in 2018 when we hadn't even heard of that thing called COVID. It's quite bizarre to think that that was our world. A group of individuals and organisations came together and started to share conversations around, wouldn't it be fantastic if the 500,000 New Zealanders who volunteered their time and their passion and their energy in the boardrooms or the committee rooms or the of community organisations had the support they needed to be fantastic at their job. And we all shared the aim that all community organisations in Aotearoa are well governed, and I'm sure all of you on that call share that vision with us. And so rather than talking, we moved in to action, and it became really quickly apparent that we actually did need a strategy, a coordinated approach. We found when we looked that there were pockets of great things happening to support boards, but they weren't across the country, that it was quite related to what postcode you lived in and what your local area did, and often by subsector. So some areas of our sector were well served and others weren't. And we knew that it needed to be very practical, and we knew it needed to be completely developed by those who would be receiving the services. Like, it has to be made by those who sit on the boards and communities and committees of our community organisations. So we started to look into what that might look like and landed fairly quickly on that it needed to be co-design, and the tools of co-design would help us do that. And we had a range of principles where we wanted anyone who wanted to be involved would be included, that it would be totally focused on action and creating momentum, that every sprint or every workshop we had to have a complete range of perspectives because our sector is so diverse, and that it should be an inclusive, valuable process that people enjoy, and we respect the precious time that people are giving us. We also needed actions that would be tested and rigorous, so when we invested in them, stood them up, that they would be really quite practical and useful. So we ended up with a co-design process that we undertook in March and June of 2020. Now, everyone will know those dates very well. We managed to have the first co-design sprint at the beginning of March, and then we needed to pivot very quickly because we were in our level 4 lockdown at that stage. To the credit, everybody came with us, and we're very grateful for that, and we pivoted online and delivered the last 6 sprints online. What we found was that, and though the idea of spending a day online workshopping was quite daunting, hopefully many of us found it a really valuable experience, particularly through those long and quite uncertain times of our first level 4 lockdown. But then we were also very lucky that we had a specific sprint focused on Te Ao Māori, and the amazing ideas that came out here really do underpin the sprint as well. The other sprints focused on the technical areas, and you can see them in the outcome areas there, that all community governance groups will have the basic skills, be able to perform their governance function, that community governance, that what we do is valued, that we have a fantastic pipeline of talented and diverse governors coming through, that we know and can draw on best practice, that our boards are well chaired, and that we all can have the behaviours that we need around the board table. So that's how we created the sprints. And again, thank you to everyone who was involved in those. From there, we put together directly from the sprints the National Action Plan for Community Governance, and I'm sure that's sitting beautifully on the site for Rose there. So just acknowledging there were more than 150 people involved in those sprints, well over 1,000 hours of collaboration. We came up with 15 actions that make up the plan, and has been now resourced and being implemented by Rose. And thank you again for your leadership. Back to you, Rose.
Oh, kia ora. It's one of those things that you have to find the mute button, isn't it? So in the world of online. Thank you, Joe. That's wonderful. And the National Action Plan, it is on our website. Welcome you to go have a look. It's all detailed there, and we've also got some updated information for you as well. So once again, thank you for all the comments coming in. We really appreciate it. So next, we'd like to share with you a bit about getting to know our team, and I'm going to introduce our chair, Melly Went of Community Governance, and she's going to share a bit more about our steering group. So tēnā koe, Melly.
Tēnā koe, Rose. Tēnā koutou katoa, everybody. Talofa lava, and a very good afternoon to you. It's my pleasure to give you the background on the governance side of this whole project and to introduce the current members involved in that governance. In November 2018, so 3 years ago now, Jo brought a group of us together to participate in what she called an NGO governance mentoring co-design workshop. At that workshop, everyone readily agreed that NGO governance, or the not-for-profit sector governance or community governance, was important, and especially the capability within it. And we all expressed a strong shared interest and a desire to help and to support. So the group continued to meet throughout 2019, and we called ourselves the Coalition of the Willing. We then called ourselves the Coalition for Community Governance, and then we became the Community Governance Steering Group. And as good governing bodies do, we developed formal terms of reference, our vision statement, our mission and strategic goals, and the high-level plan to develop this project. Some of the people involved from the beginning 3 years ago are still on the steering group, but the membership has changed over time, with organisations and individuals coming and going, but always with strong support, especially behind the scenes. Note that we've never attempted to represent the sector, the community sector, because that would be absolutely impossible given its size and diversity. but rather the purpose was and is to steer and guide the National Action Plan so that it makes the most impact. I want to acknowledge and deeply thank all the people, past and present, who have given their time voluntarily to be a part of the project's governance over the past 3 years. Without your input, the project would not have progressed as smoothly and successfully as it has. So, whawhitai tele once again. For the first 2 years, the steering group met monthly online when we were in the development phase of the project. But this year, we started meeting every 6 weeks because we were now fully in year 1 of implementation, with especially with the wonderful Rose as the program director in place. And we could step back a bit and just oversee the project at a strategic level. Before I hand over to our next speaker, I just want to say that there will be some time a bit later for you to ask questions. So feel free to type these into the chat function as we go along, and we'll get them answered later. I'd now like to hand over to Matua Kevin Honui, who was roped into the steering group last year after he participated in one of the co-design sprints. Kevin's been a fantastic, integral part of the project governance since then. He's going to elaborate on our Te Ao Māori Advisory Group, which is another key aspect of our governance. So over to you, Kevin.
Tēnā koe Mele, and thank you for that introduction. I would like to say that Te Ao Māori is well represented in this strategy around governance. It was realised fairly early from the sprint that was done for Māori that there were lots of things that Māori governance could contribute, but also learn from. There are so many things that are similar in terms of governance for Māori, but there are also things that are slightly different. And those were some of the things that we were identified early on. Navigating between cultural worlds, understanding that many Māori probably would not see themselves as governors, even though they contribute largely from marae committees through to community organisations, through to large trusts. The diversity is amazing. But from that sprint group, it was decided that Māori governance had a place, and a rightful place, in this particular strategy. So from that launch, a Māori advisory group, of which I was roped into it, along with Sarah Passmore from trustees, also Tony Kerr, and a few others. If I've forgotten their names, I'm terrible. But anyway, I just want to acknowledge that group that started off the search for further contributors to this particular kaupapa. And in July this year, we managed to enlist, through the help of Rose, eager people from Te Arawa region to come along and help us and guide us and contribute the kōrero, or the talk around governance. And they were great contributors, and they continue to be great contributors today in terms of what we are learning and what we are contributing to this strategy. So Rose, I think to myself, or Mele, I think to myself, I'd just like to say thank you very much. There is a saying, nā tō raurou, o taku raurou, kawarai te iwi. So with your contribution and my contribution, everyone will prosper. And that, I think, is a key fundamental value that the Māori Advisory Group, the Māori governance, contributes to this kaupapa. Kia ora mai, Mele.
Whakawhetai, Matua Kevin. I'd now like to ask all the members of the steering group and the Te Ao Māori Advisory Group to turn on your cameras so that we can all see your beautiful faces when you introduce yourselves. So I'm going to actually also have a look here on Zoom so that I can make sure I can see people. All right, so first I'd like to start with Francesca Ephraim. Francesca, please introduce yourself.
Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm Francesca. I'm a regional advisor for charity services based in Wellington. Lovely to see you all here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Francesca. Gordon Oldfield, would you please introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Gordon. That's it.
Kia ora koutou. I'm Gordon Oldfield, and I'm currently manager of Volunteer Nelson.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gordon. Karenia Lee.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Karenia Taku Ingoa, Kaihotu for the Centre for Social Impact, based in Tamaki Makaurau. Lovely to have you here today. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Karenia. Kate Sclater.
Kia ora, Melly. Kia ora koutou. I'm Kate Slater. I'm Head of Community Investment at Rata Foundation, and we benefit communities in Nelson, Marlborough, Canterbury and the Chatham Islands. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Kate. Michelle Kitney.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Michelle Kitney tōku ingoa. I lead Volunteering New Zealand, which is the peak body for volunteers and volunteering, and pleasure to be here, based in Te Whanganui Tara.
Thanks, Michelle. Nicolau Cockrell.
Malo ni, kia ora. My name is Nicolau. I am the youth voice on in this action group.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicolau. Prabha Ravi.
Tēnā koutou katoa, kia ora and namaste. I'm Prabha Ravi and I'm based in Wellington. I represent the New Zealand Asian leaders and few other community organisations on this group. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Prabha. Is Tony Kerr on the... No, okay. Wairangi Jones.
Kia ora rā, kei nā taringa whakaronga, ai ko au ko Wairangi te aro o te waka, tainui hoki te waka. Ko au te matsua, te pau matsua o tūtira mai. Ko au hoki te tai o nā waha kōrero o te aro o waka. So kia ora whānau, Wairangi Jones. I'm the principal of Tūtira Mai, cultural advisor, and also a co-matua on marae here in Te Arawa. Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi nui, Wairangi. Teresa Roigard.
Kia ora mai tātou, kia ora mele, ko Teresa Roigard tōku ingoa, I te taho o tōku koea, ko Ngāti Pikiao, Ngāti Whakaue, me Ngāti Mahanga hoki, te taho o tōku karaua, ko Ngāti Hine, me Ngāti Hau hoki. I'm Teresa, part of the Te Ao Māori Advisory Group. Lovely to be here, and in my paid mahi, I work at the Independent Māori Statutory Board here in Tāmaki Makaurau. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Teresa. Is Rawiri Bana here?
Oh.
Can't see him. Okay. What about Kahuta Peka Ututonga? Kare. Tipene James? No, anyway, they are some of the others, as well as people who also let us know that they couldn't make this hui. Sonia Rimene from Te Tumu Paeroa, who sits on both the steering group as well as the Te Ao Māori group, as well as Susan Huria. So they all send their apologies. Obviously, we have a group of fantastic people involved in the actual mahi, the operational side, of bringing the actions to life, starting with our program director, Rose, who's made fantastic progress this year. And of course, I do want to acknowledge Joe Cribb, Dr. Joe Cribb, the indomitable Joe, who is no longer on the steering group, but who set us all up. And if it wasn't for Joe's leadership and coordination, this project wouldn't exist. So malo lava to Joe, and a big mihi nui to you, Joe, for your wonderful contributions to date, as well as you continuing to help, just not in so much as a formal way. The organisational backbone for the project is the Centre for Social Impact, CSI, and I want to pay a special tribute to CSI, to Karenia Lee, as well as Monica, who was her predecessor, as well as Aggie Makuati Afitu, Amy Bird, and Andrea Black. and various others at CSI and Foundation North who all provide such excellent support. Kia ora koutou. We also have a fund holder agreement with Volunteering New Zealand, and I want to acknowledge Michelle Kitney and the team at VNZ for their support. And there are various other people and organisations who have provided various services and support along the way to date. So a big thank you to you all. We've still got a way to go to formally, fully implementing all the actions in the action plan and ensuring that those actions remain sustainable through time. So we'll continue to rely on the goodwill and support of the many stakeholders, service providers, and volunteers to make that all happen. So that's about us. Now we are opening things up for some Q&A. So happy for you all to turn off your videos, everybody else, and we can focus on any questions or comments that any of our visitors, any of our people on the event would like to make. Thank you very much for all of your positive comments. You're obviously having a look at the website and feeling that there is a great set of amazing resources. So a special thank you to Rose and the website company for doing such a good job. Okay, so John Stroh, do we have a document or storyboard for setup of an incorporated society? I have chaired and served on several community boards in the past and have now moved to North Canterbury, where I've tasked with the setup of an incorporated society. Yeah, it's currently a loosely formed group. Yeah, so on the website, there's definitely some links to more information about incorporated societies, as well as charitable trusts and other types of entities. So you will find some links on the website there. Rose, did you want to add any information in addition to what I've said in response to that?
Yes, so we have a whole segment called the Resource Hub, and there you can search for different types of information like that. Some do link out to external agencies. I've seen there's a question regarding governance related to other governing bodies, like Appoint and Institute of Directors. In our governance mentoring program, we are running a Tuakana Taina. That is a new partnership with the Institute of Directors. And so you'll see a bit of information there about our partnership. We also have created current opportunities. So if you have a board vacancy, please get in touch with us. It's very easy. There's a form that kind of pops out and you can enter your details. This is a nice way to connect across Aotearoa about different vacancies, board roles that you might have. We've got a couple listed there already with Appoint Better Boards, but I'd welcome you to share those board vacancies.
Yeah. In terms of those links, the more links that we can put on our website to other useful and connected other websites, the better. So as in addition to the links that we've already got listed, if you can think of other organizations that we should be linking to on the website, then definitely let us know.
Yes, so just touching on that, on our Resource Hub, we are growing that. If you've got some amazing templates and resources, again, it's got a little function that you can share that with us, and we will share it out to our community. So this, again, is just a starting piece for us building our foundations. The website is one part of about 15 of our national action plans. So we're not just starting, we're just starting the foundations of what we need to connect out to our communities. Beforehand, we haven't had any website, we haven't had any other kind of place to call our own and to share our resources with our communities. So this enables us to have a really strong platform. We've got set up a LinkedIn page, we have a Facebook page, and then we have this. Next year, we've created a board series, and we've got some great sponsorship there. We've got some great panel speakers, and we designed that from our co-design workshop that we had in July that I spoke about earlier. And the board talks is about having representation from not-for-profits, from leaders and from different kind of sectors coming together. It's bi-monthly, it's very informal. That's where you can come along, bring a coffee and ask the kind of questions that you would like to know. And so that's just another way that we can connect. But this is very much building us a home, a place that we can share what we're doing with you. The steering group is not ending. It's actually transitioned quite a lot, even from when I first came on board. We are building up more of our connections, our stakeholders, our community at the board table. So they're very engaged. There's a lot of work to do. We've still got new actions to launch next year that are coming on board. Jo Cribb will be leading out on our Good Governance Code. You can check that out on our website. That will be coming in March of next year, and she'll be leading a series of co-design sprints. We are just getting a research and evaluation paper created with FIRE, Sherry Waititi through Tūtera Mai Consultants. And once we have that, we're going to share that out on our website, and that's a starter piece for our Good Governance Code. So we've got a lot of initiatives, a lot of actions coming.
Okay, so Kay's asked whether the website covers what governors should be paid. And I think that's a really good question, a very specific question. And I've been asked that in the recent while. And most people in our sector are not paid because it's all voluntary, isn't it? But organisations are able to remunerate governors to a certain extent. But Francesca, I recently asked you, a while ago, to provide some information from charity services perspective. Sorry to put you on the spot, but can you provide some commentary around, the level to which the parameters around what governors can be paid?
That's a really big question, Melly, and it would really depend on the organisation and the kind of work that governors were doing. I mean, for most charities, that governors aren't paid, people do so voluntarily, and there are some honorariums that can be paid out to people, but it would depend on your organisation.
And they would have to be reasonable and moderate, yeah. But look, if we don't have that on our website already, that would be a perfect FAQ that we could have somewhere on the website, Rose. Can community governors be paid and to what extent? So we'll definitely add that one. How do community groups fund that support and fund themselves? Rose, is there anything specific on there at the moment about this?
About funding?
Yeah, finding the funding, community groups finding funding.
I think for us, we're there around kind of leading out at the board table, right? So there's other agencies that provide that function. I think Philanthropy New Zealand are actually creating a big resource like this that I would encourage people to have a look at, and that's connecting out funding nationwide.
Yeah. That's true. And I also will say that Community Net Aotearoa also has resources, a plethora of resources, including fundraising, some resources around fundraising. Really good question that was asked earlier. Is this the end of the steering group? No, it isn't. We'll just continue our governance role as long as the project is in place. And I can't see the need for the governance function to end as long as these actions are being implemented. So, for example, in our mentoring programs, hopefully those things will remain in perpetuity, and there'll be various other actions. Some actions are one-offs and they will be implemented, but there are a whole host of actions that we are hoping will remain in place forever. So I don't really see any need for the governance group's role ending. Yeah. Judy asks, as an advocate for older people, can I draw attention to the invisibility of older people in your images on the website? Oh, thank you for that, Judy. We'll definitely take that into consideration. And good point. We'll make sure that all of our images have a diverse range of people in terms of ethnicities and ages and backgrounds and parts of New Zealand. And but thank you for your kōrero on that. How exactly are you going to disseminate this around our various communities? Excellent question. Rose? How are we going to tell the world?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm not going to do that by myself. I'm going to do it with a great team behind me. Everyone here, I would encourage you to share our links out through your networks. I do have Katie from Social Good, so we'll be working on a plan around sharing out, linking out to our social media sites. I wouldn't mind if our panelists, actually our guests from a steering group, Te Ao Māori group, turn the videos on, just so we can see everyone. And do you have any questions for our steering group or Te Ao Māori group? So while they're here, what would you like to ask them? What are they getting out of contributing in their time as well? So welcome all the questions coming in, but also encourage you to, if you've got any questions for our team behind Community Governance NZ. I think from where we are with our website, we feel that we've got an amazing website. It's just growing. We're just building on it. I did ask earlier in this year for volunteers, if you've got any pictures or images that you would like to share of your boards, please share them with us as well.
Yeah, and CSI will be promoting the website through its regular newsletters. Volunteer New Zealand, Philanthropy New Zealand, they will share that information in their newsletters. So we're just relying on all of the various organisations that we work with to support the promotion of the website. And obviously we'll be using social media platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook. So there'll be a big promo after today on those social media platforms to promote the link to the website.
And of course to our 12 community trusts across Aotearoa. I'd just like to, I'm going to pick on Teresa Ehua, because she helped with our Te Ao Māori group with two of the resources that you'll see on our website. And that was around Te Tiriti and the Māori governance. So wondering, Teresa, if you could just give us a little background about your thoughts, what we would like to share with everyone.
Well, thanks, Rose. My thoughts, I think it's just about really how we effectively giving effect to Te Tiriti principles, and as board members and volunteer positions, how can we grow that capability? So really it was around giving an initial thoughts around, here's some resources that you could go to support boards with their decision making. So voices are heard and included, and a representation of Te Ao Māori is at the board table. That's a couple of the key things that really we thought about as a Te Ao Māori advisory group that would really matter to start getting the whakaaro and the conversations happening and the support behind that to build that capability. So there is a safe place where people can go to ask questions about how do we apply this in practice. Matua Wairangi, Matua Kevin may have a couple other things to add, but that's generally what the intent is behind those pages.
Tautoko.
I think the other piece of work that we did is joining a board coming from the perspective of a youth rep. Now, Nikolai, you've helped me quite a bit on this. You've reviewed it, we've had big chats, and we'll be working with Philanthropy New Zealand and Volunteering New Zealand on a bit of a youth collective. And our rangatahi from Te Ao Māori group aren't here with us today. But Nikolai, would you like to share a bit about kind of what you think about being considered as a youth rep and what that kind of means?
Yeah, I think it was quite cool to be to be shoulder tapped and asked if I'd like to be a part of this this kaupapa, and I think it's been a really amazing opportunity to kind of learn alongside my own learning and governance, and kind of having that, I guess, experience of learning as youth at the same time as potentially sharing with youth. So the same questions that I might be asking you guys, it's the same questions that I might be getting asked by peers around me, or different members that I'm also really keen to get on board and kind of partake in this space. And so I've really enjoyed just kind of being here, really. and just almost a fly on the wall, but then also being able to put my hand up and say, oh, what does this mean? Or have you thought of this from this perspective? And just those discussions and having that value is has been awesome.
Nice. Thank you, Nico. Rose, where's the search tab? That's a good question. I just had a look. There's no sort of general search tab.
No, and we do have a search function in our board resource hub. So that's where you can search for documents templates.
Okay.
I think for our scope, and considering we have a set budget, we've achieved an amazing result. That one of the things that we might bring on later. But we wanted to do some analytics first and see where people are visiting, where they're kind of searching for. Our intention, though, with the website is to make sure that it's not overwhelming and overloaded with heavy content. And I think you'd really resonate with that. It's designed to be easier to read and to get to the key kind of topics. Yeah.
And John, I mean, if the link to Incorporated Society is not working, I mean, that's the sort of thing that when you first launch a website, making sure that people are linked to the resources that actually sit there by the search function is the stuff that we have to iron out. So we'll definitely fix that and make sure that people do have access to the link that I've talked about. Yeah, just no results. Fine. Yeah, sweet. Anything else on here that people are wanting to ask or say? Search tab. List the areas of community focus areas that you're already engaged with and are open to look at to include. Yep. Any other, while I'm looking here, any other comments that people, our members want to make, including you, Joe?
I think I could talk to the, is it Luke has asked about the board chair CE relationship. Our partnership with Institute of Directors really kind of looks after this one. It's a chair-to-chair tuakana mentoring program. We've got about 25 chairs from the not-for-profit sector matched in with some leading chairs across New Zealand. And I think that's where that kind of program helps with the chair and the CEO relationship.
Thanks, Jenny, for your comment around our terms and conditions and our privacy policies. We'll definitely make sure that those are made explicit on our website somewhere. Very good reminder. Yeah, thank you all for your different comments and your contributions. Okay.
We have got a couple of questions coming in. Maybe Marta Wairangi might like to respond. It's about trying to find Māori representation at the board table. And I think it's a really good question posed about the need, but also the demand.
Yes, kia ora no tātou, yes, there is that's a big question. And it's a big question because Māori are definitely in demand for every aspect, given that Te Ao Māori and New Zealand is going through huge cultural change. So where do you find them? At this stage, there are many Māori who are already on boards in these very roles that we're discussing here. So how would you go about enrolling them? You might have to follow Rose's example, which is what she did with me, fun. Say, buy the ear and come along and have a listen. And hello, now we're fully in it. Whānau, that's what you've got to do. You've got to just have to go to your community links in the end and just go from one to the next until you find out. The short answer, whānau, for finding somebody is that. I don't have we don't have the time to actually go into anything in more depth, but certainly you'll just have to go to your network. So what does that mean, whānau? It means that if we want to engage with Māori, we have to get out and engage in those Māori communities. Kevin or Teresa, if you've got any whakaaro.
I'd absolutely agree, Wairangi. It is a matter of being aware, actually, who is in your community that is engaging with your group. You might be surprised that there are Māori that are interested, but it's a matter of asking sometimes. And so don't be shy, put the word out, but also, you know, person to person is a really good way of engaging with people. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Someone asked about how to get onto our mentoring program. So we've got 2 mentoring programs that we are implementing. One is for new governors into governance in the not-for-profit space. And the other is a mentoring program for chairs. So Rose, can you elaborate on both those programs?
Yes, well, on our website, we do have a whole place for our governance programs. And like I've mentioned, our chair program is we're partnered with the Institute of Directors. And that is around peer-to-peer relationship building. As you know, like if you've been a chair of a not-for-profit, it's a big step up. The time demands on you is huge. Decision-making, it's a whole different kind of ballgame. So this program is designed to have people that have been there, done that experience with you to help you on your journey. And then we have our mentoring program. Our partnership is with the Mentoring Foundation New Zealand. We are going to launch this in February next year, so keep an eye out and we'll be posting and sharing that program. This is more for our board members of not-for-profits committees. We've been trialling a mentoring program with Kapiti community, and you'll see on our on the mentoring program there's little videos there of our mentors and our mentees speaking, and they're absolutely amazing kōrero there from them. It was really great to hear what they shared about the program. I probably just want to add that our programs are delivered free, so we connect with our partners, our community trust help with our funding, and that means because getting good training, getting good advice is really expensive in the not-for-profit space. So this is why we're here, is to present these and share these kind of work programs with you.
Somebody asked about board policies and alongside operational policies. So having, you know, what might be in a governance manual, for example. Do we have anything like that currently on the website, Rose, so far?
We do in our resource hub, but again, I'd like to encourage people, if you've got other ones, share them with us, and it's building up this resource. We've got over about 60 different resources on the site in the resource hub. It's just the start, and we've kind of curated it and collated it and sharing out to other providers who already are doing great work out there and already have those information. So yeah, so it's just I think a very good, we're very excited again to share this site with you and all the resources that we've created. It's been a huge piece of work.
Just getting back to Māori contribution onto the governance, John's asked, how does it work if there's no local rūnanga? And you know, needing local, what's the protocol or a correct way of identifying appropriate local Māori representation? Do any of you have any comments on that, contributions for that?
Let me go back to what I was saying before. So whānau, in order to engage with the Māori community, it's a matter of engagement and connection first, whānau. So it's not that we go and ask them to come and help us. The first step is always, what can we do for the Māori community? And it's in that connection, and it's in those actions that the Māori communities can indeed make those connections, build the trust, and from there we can feel comfortable in asking them to be involved. So what it actually requires, whānau, is there are plenty of Māori out there who can help. Our job first, though, is to make those connections. How do we do that, whānau? We need to roll up to tangi. We need to roll up to we Māori. We need to be visible and connected and involved and active in Māori about Māori activities. Once we have proven ourselves like that, whānau, they will do anything for you.
Ai, tika. Thank you, Wairangi. Thank you for the point, Pip, that we are using existing agencies and collaborating with them, especially on the mentoring rather than duplication. That's been a goal right from the get-go, a principle that we set out to operate under, that we wouldn't duplicate. So what we've tried to do is come up with the key actions and key resources that aren't currently there, or and provide some things that aren't actually happening already. So thank you for that comment. Well, I think if there are no more others, I don't think there are any other questions, but thank you so much for your comments and your questions. Thank you to our steering group, our governing members, for your contributions, and I'll hand you back to Rose.
Sorry. Sorry, Whānau, I've got to go to our last slide. Here we are. Right, so thank you so much, firstly to the Community Trust across New Zealand, our steering group, our Te Ao Māori group, Dr. Joe Cribb, everyone that's been involved, our website design company, Scratch, Katie Brown, whole CSI team. We're so thankful to everyone contributing over the last few years up till now. But again, I'd just like to reiterate, this is just the start for us. We're building and growing. Please share out these links. What we have for you is a little kit here we've got of resources that will be coming out in your inbox soon. And we'll have our website address there. There is lots of places that you can connect and you can register for the programs and keep in touch with us. So really encourage you to do that. I'd like to thank everyone again. Thank you, Mātua Kevin, and I wish you all well over the Christmas period. Kia ora.
Kia ora mai. It's my task to bring our hui to an end. But I'm actually going to ask our kaumātua who is attending this particular hui today, Wairangi, if he wouldn't mind doing that for us all. Kia ora, Wairangi.
Kia ora no, ai te whānau, e taringa whakarongo mai ana ki tēnei kaupapa nui whakaharahara. E tika ana, kia hanga ia no te arawhata ki tō tātou matu i te rā. Nō reira kei te whānau, kia ino i tātou. Kei te atua kaharaua o rotonu, nau te mātāpuna o te ora. Whakatau iho ai, kia haere pai ai nā hotanga e hora nei ki rungi te tempo. Tēnei kātahi anō kauts i wānangi hia nei e tāna. Mō te oranga o nā kōmiti huri no te mots. Mō te tini o nā kaupapa, kei mua i te aroa. Kei te atua, kei te tuku tēnei, hei whakahonore mau, me hukarati o ki tō mātou ariki. Āmene, kia ora tātou i te whānau.